Feels like I should be waiting for Jeff to come in, but here's the thing, peeps. Today's video is all about me. All right, no Jeff, just Jamie, solo. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about board games and board gamey things. That's right, yes. Just me, solo today, no Jeffrey, and why? You're like, what happened to Jeff? Where the heck did he go? Great question. He's upstairs. Why? Because today we're talking about my favorite solo games. And you want to know who I don't play solo games with? Jeff. I play them by myself, all alone, soloing, YOLOing. So I am going to raise my chair because Jeff's not here, so I could be taller today. So today I am going to talk about my top 10 favorite solo board games. Now, I was going through the list of all of the games that I have played solo, and I could honestly just go on and on and on. So I think I'm going to start with these initial 10, and these ones are currently my 10 favorite solo games to play, and then maybe in the future I will just continue on with 5 more solo games I enjoy, because there are so many more that I want to share. I just didn't want this video to be 100,000 million years long. I feel like everybody else would appreciate that too. Let's jump into it. These are in no particular order, however I will save my favorite for last, so don't worry about that. Before we get started, I do have 2 honorable mentions, even though I mentioned I'm going to make other videos about solo games that I enjoy, but I just really wanted to mention these 2 and not put them on the list for a couple of reasons. The first one I want to talk about is Wild Tales, A Pirate Legacy from Buttonshy. The reason why this is on honorable mention and not on my list is because I am only 4 chapters into this game. Now, this is an 18-card legacy game. This is a game where you are playing as different pirates. You are trying to beat different objectives in order to defeat rebels, villains, all of that good stuff. And it's taking you through a story. It is a legacy game. You are adding stickers and doing things like that as you continue on through the game. So I can't put it on the list yet because I'm only 4 chapters in. If I'm being honest, I do not know how many chapters there are, but just know that I have really been enjoying it big time. The other game I have on my honorable mentions is going to be Arkham Horror, the card game. This would have been on my top 10 solo games list in the past. However, it has been probably 2 years since I've played it. But for anybody who doesn't know, Arkham Horror, the card game is set in the Lovecraftian world. It is a very challenging game. It is one that I personally think plays best solo. You can play it at multiplayer, but it is a very immersive solo experience. It plays very similarly to a lot of the games like Mansions of Madness and things like that. You've got like the same type of characters and card art, and you are essentially going through different scenarios, exploring different locations, fighting different monsters, collecting things, doing spells, and doing all of these things. I really want to play it again because I do think if I played it again, it would probably jump its way back onto my radar and onto the list, but it's just been years since I've played it. It just sometimes, in order to get back into it, it's just a lot of relearning. It's not one that I can easily jump back into. That's why it's not on the list. The first one that I'm going to talk about on the actual list is going to be Overboss from Brotherwise Games. This is a game that I actually have a solo playthrough of on the channel from last year sometime. I was just out on the patio. Jeff was away on a vacation somewhere without me. Rude. It was the summertime and I was like, I'm just gonna sit out here and play Overboss and share it with you guys. Now, Overboss is also a game that I really enjoy to play multiplayer, but this is my comfort solo game. It is one of the first solo games that I really kind of got into, and it is essentially like a tile placement game. So you're going to have your grid, and you are going to have tiles in front of you that are different types of terrain, along with different types of little monster tiles. So the tiles and the monsters, you want them to match on your grid. Each type of tile scores differently, and in the solo variant, there's actually a full campaign that you can go through. You get to use different boss monster cards, and there's different scoring objectives and different things that you're trying to achieve versus just kind of filling out your board and trying to score the highest amount of points. One thing that you should know about me and the way that I enjoy solo games is that I like to fight against the game. That's my favorite kind of solo game to play. So it's not like, oh, can you beat your old score or whatever it might be. I want the game to be fighting back against me, and I do find that Overboss does have this within that campaign mode, because it will say use this boss monster, these terrain tiles, and you are trying to achieve these objectives or these scores or whatever. So I know what I'm going for, instead of just being like, I got 75 this time and last time I got 74 or whatever. So that is Overboss. It's a very simple solo game to learn. So if you are just getting into solo gaming, I would recommend that one for sure. The next one on my list is going to be Three Sisters from 25th Century Games. This is a game that I have played multiplayer many times. However, I didn't fully realize how much I loved it until I played it by myself. Now, this is one that you are just trying to beat your previous score. However, what I like about this solo game is that there is an interaction between you and, what's her name? I don't know why Trudy keeps coming to my head, but I know it's definitely not that. Edith. That's it. Okay. So you're kind of playing against Farmer Edith. And basically this is a roll and write game where you are going to be, it's Combo City. You are filling out different areas of the papers based on the dice that you roll, based on the section of the little rondel board that you land on. And it is a dice drafting game, and that is how it is interactive with the AI or Farmer Edith, because Edith is going to be taking dice away from you, which is then going to limit the actions that you're able to do. Not only that, she's also going to be crossing out things on your paper that you're like, dang it, Edith, I want it to do that. She's a little bit rude. She's like that weird neighbor that just gets into your business and you're like, why are you even here? I love combos. Combos on combos on combos. And this is, I would say, leans on the heavier side of roll and writes, and that's all it is. It is Combo City. So you want to trigger this thing so you can fill it, which is going to give you this thing. So you go over to this other paper, you're going to do this thing, which is going to come down here, and you're going to do this. Combo City. The vibe is very cozy, but the play is not cozy. It's brain burny, and I love it. The next game I am going to talk about is the first button shy on this list. Yes, it is the first. No, it will not be the last. And that is called Ugly Griffin Inn. This is actually the first solo button shy game that I played. And it was gifted to me from my friend Michelle over at Second Star to the Left. So thank you to Michelle for that. She is the one that introduced me into the world of button shy, and I am forever grateful, because it has given me so many amazing games, but specifically solo games. In Ugly Griffin Inn, you are trying to manage an inn, and your guests are freaking fussy, okay? Let me tell you. So basically in this game, you have a tavern of cards in front of you, and in that tavern are different types of guests. Then next to the tavern, you have an inn, and these are the people who are like, I've had enough ale for one night. I'm gonna stay at the inn. I can't drive home. Not like this. So then they go and they stay at the inn. But like I mentioned, they're very, very fussy. So if somebody happens to come into the inn that is triggering one of the things that your current guests do not like, they're leaving. They're peacing out. They're getting heck out of there. So this game is all about managing those guests, managing what kind of people you're moving from the tavern to the inn, because realistically you're going to lose a few guests, but once you lose a certain amount, game over and you lose. So it's all just about managing the expectations and the happiness of the guests that you have in your inn versus who shows up in the tavern. Some of the guests have different abilities that they're going to trigger when they move to the inn. Some will have different things that they trigger when they are in the tavern. So they each have different symbols on them. If you have a certain amount of symbols in the tavern, it might even trigger somebody in the inn to leave before that player even gets to the inn. It is challenging. It is you fighting against the game. It does have different expansions. So I think I have the expansion called the Innkeeper, which adds just even more complexity to the game. It's an 18-card game. It is awesome. It is so fun. And it is just silly because you're like, oh, there goes the nun again because she hates loud noises. Classic nun. It's so good. The next game on my list is going to be Marvel Champions. This is not a solo-only game. This is a game that I have played multiple times at 2 players, at 3 players, but my preferred way to play this game is solo. I am a Marvel fan. I do love the world. I love the characters and have since I was little. Jeff's not super into Marvel, so he likes the game, but he's kind of like, meh, whatever. But in this game, basically, you are playing as one of the Marvel heroes and you are trying to defeat the bad guys. You know, it's a classic Marvel trope. Good guy, bad guy, fight. There is a deck building element to this game. However, you can play with pre-made decks, which is what I do because I'm not as fancy as some people are with the deck building. But basically, you have a deck and different things are going to come up that are triggering different events. They are triggering attacks. They are triggering defense. There's scheming involved and the bad guys are going to be hitting you back, and essentially you are just going through all of these different schemes in order to defeat the bad guys. It's not one that I win a ton, but it is one that I always enjoy because it's like, oh, like, okay, next time I am going to do this and then that's going to help me beat them. So it's almost like you're building up the different strategy, and it's going to play differently depending on what heroes you're playing, what villains you're playing, because certain heroes are better at certain things. Like Iron Man is really cool because you're literally like, you have to build up his suit before you can have a big attack. I love that. Let's talk about another roll and write, shall we? This might be one of my favorite roll and writes ever, and it is fantastic both playing multiplayer or playing solo. This is another one though where you are just trying to beat your own score, but the way that the game plays makes it so fun that I don't really care. And that is called Super Skill Pinball. Insert type here because there's a ton. There's Super Skill Pinball Ramp It Up, Super Skill Pinball Star Trek something, Super Skill Pinball Holiday Season, whatever. I have played Super Skill Pinball Ramp It Up and the Holiday Season one. Both are amazing. With these games, it's like you are playing a pinball machine, but it is a roll and write. So you are rolling dice and you are choosing one of the 2 numbers from the dice and you are going to be scratching something out. And then you're moving this little metal half ball, because it looks like a little pinball, down, and then you are hitting it with the flipper to fling it up, and you're trying to get combos and you're trying to score as many points as possible before your little ball falls out of the machine. Each box comes with different sets. So Ramp It Up comes with 4 different sets that you can play with. The Holiday Season one comes with 3 different, so you can play like one that's based on Buddy the Elf, one that's based on National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. It is just addicting. It is so fun. It plays quickly unless you're really, really good, and then it might take a little bit longer. But I have really, really, really enjoyed playing this game. I would highly recommend it as a way to get into solo gaming, kind of the same way that I would with Overboss. This is a great one because in the box itself, there will be varying levels of difficulty based on the set that you're playing. And it's fun to roll dice. It just is. Okay, let's talk about another button shy game. Is it time? It is time. So the next button shy solo game that I want to talk about is called Rove. This game is addicting. It stands for Results-Oriented Versatile Explorer. So basically you have a grid of different cards. You're going to have a hand of cards that are like movement cards, and at the beginning of each round you are going to be putting out a card that shows the exact pattern that you need to create. So you've got a hand of cards that have different movements on them. So you are going to be playing out those cards in order to manipulate the grid that you have in front of you. Each one of the modules that's in front of you is slightly different, and they have special ways that they can move. So one of them might be able to move diagonal. One of them might only be able to move one way, but when they do that, they're pushing another one. It's almost like a logic puzzle. You are just puzzling your way, trying to get the configuration that matches the card that you put out. As soon as you complete that, you get to flip that card over and then continue on to the next round, and you keep going until you get a certain amount of cards completed. Each one of the module cards also has one special ability that you can use once per game. So you flip it over, you use its special ability. There's also different things on the movement card so that if you have this particular configuration, well then you can actually flip over that movement card and use a higher value movement. And so basically you are just trying to manipulate this board to get the pattern that you're looking for, and you are going to keep doing that over and over and over again until you complete the entire set, or however many cards. I think it's like 6, I want to say 6 or 7. It is very difficult. It is very puzzly. It is very addicting. It is 18 cards in a tiny wallet that you can take anywhere with you. This game is so good. I love it. I'm not great at it, but that's what makes it fun. Speaking of puzzling, the next game I want to talk about is called Town 66. And I feel like Jeff and I have been talking about this game a lot. I do love this game at 2 players as well, but this game is such a great solo game. So essentially in Town 66, this is an oink game, small box game. You'll notice a theme here, like 95% of the solo games that I like have minimal setup, small box, bigger heart. Those are the qualifications. So in Town 66, the theme is really silly. Basically, you have a town who says you cannot have the same color house or shape house in the neighborhood. You just can't do it. And the neighborhood is a 6x6 grid. So you're going to start with one tile that is out on the table, and that is the start of your neighborhood. And then you are going to be placing out different tiles, trying to create the perfect 6x6 grid. In the columns, you have no matching colors or shapes. In the row, you also don't. This is a puzzle. That's all that it is. It is so fun. It is so puzzly. This is a game that I will play during lunchtime. This is a game you can throw in your bag and take wherever you go. It's simple, it's easy to learn, it's quick, it's fun, it's puzzly, it's brain burny. I absolutely love it. Love me some puzzling. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about is a classic solo game. That is Friday by Friedman Freeze. This is a notoriously difficult solo game, and I got it for Christmas and started playing it immediately. And I can see why this is such a popular game. It's such a cool challenge. So basically, set in the world of Robinson Crusoe, and you are Friday, and you are trying to get Crusoe safe off the island, help him to not die because he's a little bit of an idiot. I didn't say it, the game basically said it. This is a deck building game, and essentially you start off with a basic deck of cards. Each card has a different number on it, and it'll have like a little title like tired, hungry, rested, like whatever it might be. And there's different numbers on it. And then you are going to be playing the game over 3 phases: easy, medium, and hard. And you're going to be going through a hazard deck. You flip over 2 and then you pick 1. And then you are going to be trying to defeat that hazard based on the level that you are. It'll tell you the point value that you need to achieve and how many cards you will be able to play. So if, let's say, this hazard card has a value of 3 that you need to beat, and you can play 2 cards. You're going to take your hand of cards and you're going to play down 1 for free. You're going to play down 2 for free. If you've got 3, great, you beat the hazard. If not, you can choose to lose a life, play another card, or you can choose to lose, or maybe you just lose because it just is what it is. It's not necessarily the worst thing ever to lose, because when you lose, you might be able to gain a little bit of life back. However, if you do defeat the card, it comes into your pile, and that is the deck building aspect. Now, when you flip that hazard card around, it has a value that you can play out to defeat other hazards. You are trying to get through the hazard deck 3 times, then you have to defeat 2 other like event cards at the end. It is extremely challenging, but it is so fun. I have not won it yet. I feel like I've said that in so many of these games because I don't know, they're hard. I play them because they're fun, but I love this because it is completely a challenge against the game. I feel like many people who are into solo games have probably played this already, but if you haven't, definitely check it out. It is a great time. 2 left. All right, the next one that I want to talk about is another button shy game, and that is called Food Chain Island. This game is so cute, so simple, puzzly, fun. I love it. It is another 18 card solo game, comes in a little wallet. I take it with me everywhere that I go. So basically in this game, you are building out a grid of different animals. It is, as you would expect, a food chain. So basically each animal can eat another animal in the grid so long as it's 1, 2, or 3 values below that animal. So the fox can eat these 3 animals, but they have to be able to eat the animal adjacent to it. So basically, as soon as an animal eats another animal, you're putting that on top of the animal that gets eaten, and you can only ever move your animals 1 orthogonally. Is that a fly? Weird. Every time that you eat an animal, the animal that you have eaten the other animal with has a special ability that gets triggered that allow you to kind of break the rules of the game a little bit. There's also a shark card and a whale card that are one-time use during the game. You flip them over and they allow you to do something special. The goal of the game is to get all of the animals eaten so you only have 1 animal left, but you still win if you have like 3, 2, or 1. It's just so simple. It is so cute. I love the little like logic puzzle that it is, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. Like I said, I travel with this and you're just like, you know, animals eating animals. I love it. It's adorable. The theme is less adorable. When I think about what I'm doing, it's less adorable, but the artwork's really cute. So, all right, last but not least, my ultimate favorite solo game is no surprise to anyone. This is my 2nd favorite game of all time in general, and that is Final Girl from Van Ryder Games. This game has absolutely everything that I want in a solo experience. The only thing that it could be is a little bit less setup, but I don't mind the setup time at all because the components and everything are just so cool. So essentially, in Final Girl, you are playing as a final girl, believe it or not, and you are trying to defeat the bad guy. So right now I have season 1. I'm looking forward to getting season 2. You have a core box, and then you have different stories that go along with that. And each of those other boxes, you have a map, a villain, and 2 final girls. Some of them play slightly differently, but the ultimate goal is usually, not always, but usually to kill the bad guy. So let's just say you've got everything kind of set up. This is a hand management style style game. It's not really deck building because you don't get to keep the cards, but you are playing out cards. Those cards are costing you time. You are rolling dice in order to check for success. There is going to be horror events that happen that are bad things that are going to happen to you. You are trying to rescue victims. You're trying to get them away from the killer, and you're doing that using the cards that you're adding to your hand because you're buying cards with time. Everything has that time element. It's like, okay, well, if I use this and I fail, it's gonna lose me some time. Then the bad guy's gonna get a turn, okay? And he's not messing around. They never are. They're always coming at you, trying to kill you, trying to kill all the victims, and you're like, whoa, dude, chill. But they're not chill. That's just not how it goes. So they're gonna have a turn. They're gonna be attacking you. Some of the cards that you can have in your hand are gonna help you defend, but that's not always the case. So really the ultimate goal, kill the bad guy, save the victims, get out alive. You want to get out alive. What's really neat about this game though is like classic horror movie trope. As soon as you kill the bad guy or he kills you, you have this final heart token that you flip over, and there could potentially be more hearts on it, which means he comes back to life or they come back to life. It is extremely challenging. I am obsessed with the variety. I love all things creepy and weird and spooky and horror movie-ish. I did a whole video based on Final Girl in real life where I myself played the Final Girl. You go watch it, I'll link it below. This is just a fantastic experience. It's immersive, it's thematic, it's everything. It is the definition of playing against the game. And the game does not make it easy for you to win. I love the variety. You can mix and match the set, so you can do this map with this final girl and this villain. And yeah, season 2, I could not possibly be more excited for it. If you have not tried Final Girl, I highly, 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 highly recommend it. Those are my 10 favorite games to play solo, plus a couple honorable mentions. As I mentioned before, I will keep doing videos like this where I might mention 5 more solo games that I enjoy, because there were so many that I ended up having to cut off of this list that I still really want to share with you. Anyways, if you're interested in buying board games like any of the many that I mentioned today, you should first start by checking your friendly local gaming store, and for us that is the Boardroom Game Cafe. Don't forget to sign up for the Foster the Game-a-Thon, all you can play 24-hour board game-a-thon. We are going to be streaming most of the day, and I have one time slot saved for solo games. So I will be on for about an hour by myself playing different solo games, and I will most likely be playing a lot of those button shy solo games, Town 66, stuff like that. So definitely come and check that out. We have a whole lineup of some of our favorite creators that are going to be joining us, and the goal is just to play as many games as you possibly can. Play with your friends, play some solo games, play online, whatever you'd like to do. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments below what some of your favorite solo games are. I would love to know, but that's all I have for today. So thanks for watching. I hope to see you again soon. And now I say goodbye. Goodbye. Later days. Blech. Let's see. Trudy. Yeah, farmer something. Tell me her name. The row, you have no matching colors or shapes, and in the column, I said row. My computer's gonna die. 1 second. Don't die. We are alive. We have batteries. All is well in the world.